Paul, is this the Baldwin Bash?
No, Adam.
Is it the Affleck after party?
No, Adam, it is certainly not.
Is it the Krasinski Carnival?
No, Adam, it's not the Krasinski Carnival.
Ah, that's right. On this show, we only talk about Jack Ryan as played by the mighty Harrison Ford.
Yes, and Adam, you didn't mention that Chris Pine also played Jack Ryan.
And who would?
Who would? It's the Ford Fiesta. Welcome to the Ford Fiesta. I'm Paul Patrick Preston.
And I'm Adam Noyce Witt.
Noyce! This is the show where we find out that Jack Ryan's middle name is Patrick. Who knew? But that was Noyce. Today's film on the Ford Fiesta is Philip Noyce's adaptation of the Tom Clancy novel Patriot Games. Our guest this week, who will join us later in the show, is also pretty Noyce. A previous guest of the movie guys going way back to a couple of appearances on the old movie showcast. These days, he's got a flourishing YouTube channel, The Outlaw Nation. John Rocha will be with us. But first to the segment that we thought would just kill time on our show as we talk about old movies, but turns out it's become one of the most densely packed segments we do because Harrison Ford is busy as hell. But let's talk what's new in the world of Harrison Ford. Just a couple things to throw at you here, Adam. After viewing The Dial of Destiny, like we watched the movie, Steven Spielberg said, when the lights came up, I just turned to the group and said, damn, I thought I was the only one who knew how to make one of these.
Ooh, now that is a compliment. Wow.
Well, the thing I remember hearing about Crystal Skull beforehand was he brought out Karen Allen at Comic-Con, I believe, in a video stream live to the fans there. And he was like, we're doing this one for the fans. And I went, ugh.
Never a good sign?
Yeah, I don't think it's ever a good sign. Make the movie you want.
This one for the fans. Oh, great.
Yeah. Clearly, I think Mangold must be making the movie that he wants to make. And then Spielberg went, hey, you can do it too.
You know what's so great about Mangold?
Nice!
Is that when you watch the Wolverine or Logan, but particularly the Wolverine, because that is my very favorite Wolverine story, he just gets what is exciting about these things. And he's like a Star Wars kid. He's a Raiders kid. Like what is he going to focus on? What does he love about Indiana Jones? Because you know it's good, whatever he loves about it. You know, he's so good at loving this stuff.
And I didn't put this in the news, but it is worth mentioning that I believe at Star Wars Celebration, James Mangold was announced as a director of a future Star Wars movie. You know, everybody has been at this point. We had the Game of Thrones guys, Patty Jenkins, Adam. Right.
It's my turn.
Yeah. And they've come and gone, but it looks like apparently the Daniels now and Mangold are the newest names to be batted around. But just as long as they make features, then I'm a fan. It's been my favorite part of Star Wars since 1977. So let's get a movie. And if Mangold's making it, I'm in. I'm 100% in.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm very curious what happened to Mangold's Boba Fett movie. Because when they made The Mandalorian, I said, Mangold's Boba Fett fell apart. And they were just like, look, let's just rename it. Let's not try and stick it in continuity. Let's not do Boba Fett stuff. Let's just do a separate story. And that's what became The Mandalorian, which is why it was so surprising when Boba Fett showed up in that show. I was like, I thought this was the show you were doing because you aren't going to do a Boba Fett show. That was amazing.
CinemaCon happened in Las Vegas, and a huge clip of Dial of Destiny was played, including a tape message from Ford. Ooh. He said, hello, CinemaCon. Playing Indiana Jones all these years has meant the world to me. The movies have adventure and heart, and for some reason, snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? So, yeah, he did comedy and chimed in there. So, you know, the positivity push continues.
And all this comes from a guy that was done playing Han Solo, and we assumed Indiana Jones, and like, you know, he
and Rick Deckard.
Rick Deckard. He was so vocal about putting all that behind him, and obviously we've just gone through Harrison Ford Phase 3, and you watch the manifestation of that desire is playing not only characters that aren't Indiana Jones and Han Solo, but like characters that aren't like any character, you know, Mosquito Coast and Frantic, and, you know, it's like these are just crazy original movies that he just really wanted to abandon all that. So happy he's come back to all of it. It's so surprising. But Paul, I sometimes will go on about how the fact that as a Star Wars fan, we didn't have Star Wars movies for 15 years or whatever it was. And you just got used to, or 10 years. And you're like, it's just never going to happen. And I gave up on it. And so when they come back, I'm like, oh my God, this was never going to happen. I mean, I feel the same way with Harrison Ford. It was just never going to happen. None of this. None of these returns were ever going to happen, you know?
Yeah, it could be the farewell tour as he puts all these characters to bed. You know, but not the farewell tour of his career, as we've mentioned. If he's playing Thunderbolt Ross, he ain't slowing down. So,
that's right. I keep forgetting more news. There's going to be more Ford news, Paul.
Wow, just to get him in a franchise like that, you know, he's normally launching a franchise. He doesn't often come into one, so that's super exciting.
But that is what's fun, because he's Mr. Summer to us, and then he went and did all these other movies that come out at different times of the year. They're not summer movies, and then having Patriot Games, he's dropped into a franchise. And
well, let's get actually to it, but first, of course, wait, there is one more segment we always have to touch on, and that of course is this date in for history. What happened here in mid-May? Now, when this airs, I don't know. But in mid-May, when we're recording this,
when it's listened to, we don't know either. So I'm not changing any of this because of our delay.
Yeah, right. There's mid-May happenings in the world of Harrison Ford. May 13th, 1970, Getting Straight is released. So this is just a little after I was born.
Little baby Harrison Ford. He's such a baby in that movie.
Oh, Harry, Jan, wait. Hey, you weren't going to walk by, were you? I was waiting for you. We were having a party. You left the door open. We were waiting for you.
The hippie haircut and
I don't think we have
70s sideburns.
Oh, gosh.
But, and anyone who went to see that probably didn't think, well, there's the next big star of motion picture history.
No, I don't think so.
But there he was anyway. And, they're watching Elliot Gould, who at the time was a big deal, Big deal. He was the Harrison Ford of his time. No, that's not true. That is not true.
John Wayne was the Harrison Ford of his time. Yeah. He was the only the Elliot Gould of all the times he's been in.
Well, speaking of John Wayne, May 17th, 1968 and May 18th, 1979, 11 years apart. But I mentioned John Wayne because in 68, Journey to Shiloh is released. And in 79, Western. I say Hanover Street is released. And I mentioned both of those movies together because they're probably ones you don't know so much about. You've watched Star Wars, you've watched Blade Runner, you've watched Indiana Jones, you've watched Jack Ryan. But have you watched Journey to Shiloh? Have you watched Hanover Street?
I heard it.
We recommend that you do. And of course, you go back and check out our old episodes of the Ford Fiesta about each of those movies to get you psyched, or even after you watch it, we'll help you break it down. What the hell that was that you just saw. Products of their time, perhaps, and entertaining if you're just watching Harrison Ford, for sure.
Obviously, go watch the Journey to Shiloh for the song.
There were 7 boys from Texas, rode off to fight a war. 1,000 miles to Richmond was where they headed for.
6 years later, Mel Brooks was spoofing that and everything that came before it, like that in Blazing Saddles.
God,
with the songs and westerns were just always goofy, and they were still doing it in the late 60s. And of course, that's James Caan. So if you want to watch the Caan Carnival,
well, that's the great thing also about Phase 1, Harrison Ford Phase 1, as we enter Harrison Ford Phase 4 here, Phase Ford. But Phase 1, you'd watch it, of course, because Harrison Ford's going to show up somewhere in it. And sometimes he's throughout, sometimes he's only at the beginning, like in A Time for Killing. And you're like, oh, that's it. Now we're going to watch the rest of this stupid movie. But a lot of times, especially on this one, you'd be like, hey, I'm watching for Harrison Ford, but free James Caan. And you do get good James Caan in that movie. It's a good free James Caan. Like and he really is kind of like a Harrison Ford mode. You could see him playing that later of when his brother gets killed and he's goes to the bar and he demands that they pay for his funeral and kicks their table over while they're gambling. You're like, man, this guy don't take any crap.
So there you go. 2 recommendations from the Ford catalog released mid-May. In 68, he's already May guy, and then later, of course, with the blockbusters, that's when he really started putting out the May movies.
Yeah.
All right, enough nonsense. It's time for completely different nonsense. It's time to talk about Harrison Ford's 28th entry in the annals of cinema history with the patented Movie Guys recap of Patriot Games.
Having unsuccessfully delivered a telegram to James Coburn and successfully punched Jack Lemmon in Harrison Ford,
Phase 1! And carved his face on Hollywood's Mount Rushmore with multiple portrayals of pulp heroes, Han Solo and Indiana Jones, and Harrison Ford, Phase 2!
Then for his next trick, Ford made everyone forget about those roles like they were the alphabet and his fans were Henry Turner from Regarding Henry.
As he spent a decade playing everybody else. A lawyer, a businessman, a doctor, a business lawyer, a business doctor, I think even a doctor lawyer.
And at the same time played all of the dads. There's surrogate Amish dad, maybe a murderer dad, cult leader dad, and even a dad so forgetful he forgot he was a dad. In Harrison Ford, Phase 3!
But Harrison Ford returns to form with a summer movie franchise based on a best-selling novel by author and dad den wallpaper designer Tom Clancy in Patriot Games. Like a classic Ford movie, Patriot Games is already a summer sequel. Why, back in Harrison Ford's day, he had to get sequels made the old-fashioned way, by minting an iconic movie character in a global box office and pop culture phenomenon. Twice!
In Patriot Games, Ford plays Jack Ryan. That's right, no more Rusty or Hank. It's back to basics. 8 letters, 3 syllables, Jack Ryan. That name is definitely here to save the day a little more than Rusty's a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
And with those twerpy monikers, so exits the dorky hair. Yes, Harrison Ford was so method that even his hair got into the act, with each new must-do indicating how not Indiana Jones he was. Harrison Ford's hair in Phase 3 was like a thermometer that measures man-children. Back is the classic Ford haircut, a hard part that can withstand the concussive force of an explosion he's running away from. Can bounce back after your second fist fight of the day and still look good for a romantic evening on a boat going 85 miles an hour towards a rocky shoal.
Well, if he's in a summer movie with a cool name and a classic haircut, and he's here to save the world with punching, pointing, and shouting with righteous anger, then clearly we must have arrived at Harrison Ford, Phase Ford! In Patriot Games, wow, even the titles are back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Refreshing after a grab bag of vaguely intriguing nouns and verbs.
And the pile of sweaty Oscar pleading that is Regarding Henry. I didn't know they piled pretension that high.
But what makes this a true Phase 4 movie is Harrison Ford entering the exciting, action-ready world of terrorism and espionage, and giving him a job 100 times more CIA than being a farmer. The CIA!
Jack Ryan now teaches history at the United States Naval Academy. Hey, he's a teacher again, but he's a retired teacher giving a special lecture in London.
Web spiders catch and wind their strands around their victims and mummify them before they have them for dinner. Some even devour their own. But spider's not a bad fellow.
Spider's not a bad fellow.
Ryan attends the event with his wife, Kathy, played by 80s movie icon Ann Archer, and their young daughter, Sally, played by 90s movie icon Thora Birch. They exit alongside the Queen's cousin, Lord William Holmes, the British Minister of State for Northern Ireland, when an assassination attempt breaks out.
Seeing his family in danger, any ordinary man would be unable to warn them from very far away and indicate to those faraway people that he is indeed talking to them. But Harrison Ford is no ordinary man, and his point and shout is no ordinary gesture, but a gift willed to him by the gods.
Ready! Get down!
I know I say this every other episode, but is this Harrison Ford's greatest point and shout of all time?
Yeah, can you hold that thought for 3 minutes?
Sure.
Phase 3 Harrison Ford makes sure his family is safe before Phase 2 Harrison Ford can be held back no more at the bad guys planting a bomb on Lord Holmes' car. He gives us a classic Harrison Ford running tackle.
Finish! Open it or we'll blow it up!
Disarming one terrorist and fatally shooting 2 others, including the assassin Sean Miller's younger brother, both of whom belong to a radical IRA splinter cell led by Kevin O'Donnell, played by Patrick Bergin, the working man's Robin Hood. Now, for those of you who enjoy when Ford adds a notable character actor co-star, Sean Miller is played by Sean Bean, who stares icy murder at the man who killed his brother, Jack Ryan, who is shot and passing out as he's attended to by his physician wife.
Jack Ryan wakes in the hospital, a very human hero, badly hurt and unable to remember any details from the traumatic event. Luckily, he still knows the alphabet. Because after regarding Henry, I legitimately worried for a second that Jack Ryan would have to learn the alphabet and then his name and then move on to solving terrorism in London.
The IRA is upset at O'Donnell's public attempt to execute a royal, which makes them look like violent killers to the public. So they send assassins to kill O'Donnell, which no good publicist would suggest as a solution to that image problem. Meanwhile, we have a groundbreaking moment in the Ford Fiesta, Adam. As for Jack Ryan's bravery, he's awarded a Knight Commander of the Victorian Order. Harrison Ford just got knighted from Major to General to Knight. Major, move!
So happy to be here for this. He's Sir Harrison Ford for the rest of this show, that's for sure. Sean Miller is tried and convicted, threatening Jack Ryan and promising revenge as he comes face to face with the righteous anger of Sir Harrison Ford, which this movie is basically a showcase for because Jack Ryan is the anti-Deanna Jones. He's not going back. He's out of the life. He made a promise to his wife, put the fists away, and now he's only armed with seething. For now.
Sean Miller's police convoy escort to prison is ambushed by O'Donnell and his sinister agents. They free Miller, and for funsies, O'Donnell lets Miller kill all of them. He seems to enjoy it after being incarcerated and unable to take a life for 36 hours.
O'Donnell and his crew flee to North Africa to plan the next attempt on Lord Holmes, while O'Donnell's lover, Annette, and several others travel to the U.S. to assassinate Jack Ryan. Soon after Ryan's been informed that Sean Miller has escaped, he spots a nervous kid with a bulge in his pants, and it's not because he's happy to see the star of Witness.
No clue escapes the keen eye of master analyst
the
Jack
world's
Ryan.
First analrapist.
He catches every detail. The assassin in a reflection and his accomplice, a redhead in a Jeep. Ryan eludes the assassin and surprises him with a Harrison Ford special that pointedly fails to connect. The front gate of the Naval Academy is a terrible place to try and get away with gun stuff as the assassin is taken out by two armed guards. But it's at this moment that Ryan realizes it could be a coordinated attack on his family and tries desperately to get to them.
Meanwhile, on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, Sean Miller is fulfilling his side of a coordinated attack on Jack Ryan's family. Wow, nothing gets by Ryan. Miller pulls up in a van on the highway and unloads a machine gun at the wife's car. Her life is only spared because nobody knows how to merge in D.C. But the chaos causes the car to crash into a highway divider while Jack Ryan helplessly watches the smoke billow from the accident in the distance, helplessly stuck in D.C. traffic more than usual.
Kathy and Sally are seriously injured and taken to the hospital.
Oh, no.
Where they don't have to learn the alphabet all over again.
I'm sorry, I'm so gun-shy.
Well, the daughter does lose her spleen.
I'd trade that in for not having to take third grade again.
Now, in Patriot Games, Sir Harrison Ford reteams with James Earl Jones, who plays Vice Admiral James Greer, Ryan's former CIA superior. He asks Ryan to rejoin the agency to help capture the terrorists.
Join me.
Ryan turns him down because he promised his wife he'd stay out. But in the next scene, Sally tells Jack to get him. And with that, we have ourselves a Harrison Ford movie.
Yeah! He goes on the offensive, meeting with Sinn Féin leader Paddy O'Neill. The leader is named by whoever has the most Irish name. O'Neill is played by the great Richard Harris. Nice to see these two legends in the same scene. Amazing. And what a scene it is. But O'Neill won't divulge the location of Miller or O'Donnell. He denies IRA involvement and refuses to betray any fellow Irishman. He might have picked the wrong day to F with Jack Ryan. Just because Ford isn't throwing punches doesn't mean he ain't throwing heat.
I don't give a shit whether you did it or not, and neither will anyone else. But I will put such a stranglehold on your gun money you'll be out in the street throwing rocks. I will destroy you. I will make it my mission in life.
Woof.
Top 10 Harrison Ford moment right there, man.
Absolutely. So Jack Ryan returns to the CIA and does what he does best. He analyzes, putting together many threads of seemingly innocuous information like a techno Sherlock Holmes, and being the best of the best at our insistence, figures out which camp the terrorists are in.
What you did was you take the staff to a special room in Tanis, a map room with a miniature of the city all laid out on the floor. And if you put the staff in a certain place at a certain time of day, the sun shone through here and made a beam that came down on the floor here.
Okay, that's a different scene of Harrison Ford explaining something to bureaucrats, but it's the cadence we love from that exposition scene applied in a whole new way in Patriot Games, which basically has him describing the staff of Roz 6 times to 5 people. He analyzes the satellite imagery alongside character actor extraordinaire Ted Raimi, friend of the show.
Yeah.
In a kind of grown-up real-world version of Rick Deckard's analysis of the photo from Blade Runner. even at the end of the scene, saying,
Enhance.
The movie is littered with dozens of obvious and less obvious echoes of Ford's past movies, which for us deep fans makes Patriot Games play like the best of Harrison Ford.
The analysis triggers flashbacks, and the fuzzy memories gain detail as Ryan remembers a female red-haired driver at the attempts on the life of both Lord Holmes and his own. Raimi spots a suspect who had recently slipped surveillance in the satellite photos, making it a pretty good bet that Miller and O'Donnell are at a terrorist training camp in Libya. Ryan deduces that if you find the red-haired accomplice, you'll find Sean Miller.
Thora Birch finally wakes from her injuries with her father at her bedside, knowing her ABCs, and the hero father is able to read a story to his daughter.
Mother. Mother.
What a great show. Huh?
While Ryan relaxes in the hospital break room, Richard Harris enters and leaves Ryan a wrapped present and silently walks away. Inside is the evidence on the red-haired assassin, which Ryan tries to present to his boss, who's in total 80s dickhead police chief mode. He's had it with Callahan, McClane, Foley, and Ryan. He's had it up to here with the guy who famously saved the day because he's right all the time.
You're not a field man, Jack. You never were. You are an analyst. Analyze that.
You tell O'Neill that you're looking for a girl. He gives you the pictures of a girl. He obliges you to get you off his back, and you believe him?
I didn't tell him I was looking for a girl, Marty.
Greer trusts Ryan implicitly. All Ryan has to say is, that's the spot, and Navy SEALs will raid it at midnight and kill everyone in it. And that's the problem. The reality of being a CIA analyst is you kill with the word yes. Notably, when he finally pulls the trigger, he never verbally says yes, but rather, the preponderance of evidence makes the call for him, and he merely nods without making eye contact.
The Special Air Service raid the camp, killing everyone. In a bit of cinema subversion in a movie that's got that all day, our hero watches the action heroes on monitors in silence. We never see the soldiers outside of Ryan's point of view, which is a night vision satellite shot of the cold murder made even colder. It calls upon one of Ford's most underrated talents, and that is reacting. This is peak reacting, finally honed after his masterful use of it in Phase 3. But Miller, O'Donnell, and their cohorts have already fled to North America to coincide with Lord Holmes' visit there.
Lord Holmes arrives at the Ryan residence to present Ryan with the KCVO medal, bringing everyone Sean Miller would like to kill into one place on a stormy night. Everything's adorable with coffee and cakes being served and Ryan's daughter being a sweetheart.
What could possibly go right? And the power goes out. Charming jokes about not paying the utility bill are coupled with positive IDs of those killed at the terrorist camp taking 48 hours to process. See, never go through the government if you want something done quickly. I mean, I got to tell you, in order to start this tour company I launched, you know, the one where we go to famous movie locations from around Los Angeles where the films were made, much of the paperwork had to go through the state regarding the Public Utilities Commission and the proper permits from the Department of Transportation. That stuff goes through Sacramento. It just takes forever. But that's a story for another time, unless I've told it in its entirety already. But the point is, to make a long story short, never go through the government if you want something done quickly.
You left one thing out. The power's out, but it can't be a power outage because Master Analyst Jack Ryan notices that the boathouse lights are still on. Meaning that someone cut the power to the house. Also, the radios aren't working.
Phones are out too.
On brand with Sam Jackson. And all of the bodyguards are dead. It seems that, much like the way this film began, regular guy Harrison Ford will have to snap into action to ensure things get accomplished.
Okay, he doesn't go full Indiana Jones on a truck full of Nazis, but he does go Jack Bauer on Lord Holmes' assistant Watkins, who has been leaking information to Miller and his splinter cell all along.
I'm the spy.
Watkins spills that there may be more than 6 people on Ryan's property, ready to end this party and the lives of those attending it. And if you want to know which Harrison Ford this movie has turned Jack Ryan into, he gets this information out of him by throwing him down a flight of stairs and shooting him in the leg.
Enough safe and sane. It's time for dumb and dangerous.
Sure enough, O'Donnell, Miller, and their team have killed all the party's security team and are entering the house. Ryan gets ready to defend his house and enlists Sam Jackson to help.
Come on, let's get into character.
Even Catherine is ready to whoop an ass as she finds Jack's shotgun, and with all the pent-up anger she's stored since Fatal Attraction, Ann Archer's ready to drop a bitch, if necessary.
Eventually, Ryan and Jackson make quick work of dispatching the terrorists and escape the house, frantic style, from the roof. Making more correct hero choices, Ryan then lures Miller to come after him on a boat, leaving Lord Holmes and his family safe on the shore.
Nice.
O'Donnell, Miller, and Annette pursue in a deluge of the shit kind of East Coast weather I left behind when I moved to L.A.
O'Donnell realizes Ryan's alone in the boat and tries to convince Sean to return to the mission of kidnapping Lord Holmes. But Miller is obsessed with revenge against Ryan and continues to pursue him, even dispatching O'Donnell and Annette in the process.
I'll go nuts! I'll go nuts, baby!
Then finally, the big mano-y-mano between Sean Miller and Jack Ryan.
Two men injured! One man leaves! Two men injured! One man leaves!
Punches are thrown, bodies are thrown, and anchors are deposited in Sean Miller's back.
So, Miller's dead?
Well, you never can be too sure, so his boat also crashes into some jutting rocks and explodes.
That'll do it. So, amongst Sir Harrison Ford's many iconic moments in cinema history, he also got to kill Sean Bean?
Ryan is rescued from the water by an FBI team and reunited with his family in his now seriously devalued oceanside home.
In the final scene, domestic life has returned for the Ryans as the family has breakfast and Catherine is talking to Dr. Zalian. Fun fact, he's named after writer Stephen Zalian, who did an uncredited polish on the script. Catherine is about to find out the sex of the baby that's on its way.
After making a regarding Henry puppy dog face awaiting the answer, Catherine says the baby's going to be a... And that's Patriot Games, everybody. Patriot Games. All right, that's, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that was hilarious.
That's Patriot Games, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell. And joining us here to talk about it is an old friend of ours. He's been on the Movie Guys a number of times, including a great episode with Mick Foley many moons ago. That was real fun.
Right.
Then we followed him through the Schmodown, and he's stayed in our circle, which is really cool. And now, of course, the Outlaw Nation has taken off into a huge YouTube juggernaut. John Rocha is with us.
Hey, thank you guys so much. I mean, from your lips to God's ears, yes, that's hopefully down the road, but very happy with how it's been going over the last few years, striking out on my own. And of course, Paul, you're one of those guys that, like, when I was on your show, it just was like, how can people do this? It's incredible. And of course, through crazy things, I ended up doing it down the road. So you guys are one of the first guys that I saw that it was something that could be possible. So please, your inspiration in that way. So yeah.
Oh, thanks, man.
That's thanks so much. I'm like, we got to everybody put on a tie. Rocha's here. He's there, a real streamer. He's got a real show. We got this ragtag thing.
You guys have been on my shows. It's always been fun to quid pro quo this thing. So I'm excited to talk today and hang out with you guys.
Well, let's talk. Then let's go back to 1992. Patriot Games comes out. It comes out June 5th. So Harrison Ford, after Presumed Innocent and Regarding Henry, is back in summer blockbuster mode. This is a solid summer movie entry for that summer. Filming started in November 1991. It's a pretty quick turnaround for a big blockbuster. They
didn't used to put things into computers, and they just were done. That's how Eastwood does it. You're like, did he just finish shooting that a week ago? It's like, yeah, he doesn't put it in a computer. They're done. He shoots 2 takes. What do they have to go through tonight?
Well, we're coming off The Hunt for Red October, of course, being a hit, so people wanted more of this. The budget was $40 million. That was raised by Brandon Tartikoff from $28 million, and eventually made. Yeah, but eventually it ended up costing $65 million due to reshoots and other things. Wow. But doesn't matter. It's Harrison Ford, so it earns $83.3 million domestically, $178 million worldwide. So that's almost 3 times its budget by the time it's done. Because
it's as if the public would rather see him punch people than forget the alphabet.
That's true. Good point. So we always talk about the first time we saw this movie. I think all 3 of us watched it to get in the zone for today's conversation. But when was the first time you saw this movie, John?
Probably in Virginia, I'm sure, on some break, because this is right when I'm in the military, but I'm also, going to college. So yeah, it would have to have been on a break, I think, if I remember correctly. And it's funny because I'm going to talk about this later, but a friend of mine, they shot it outside of his house, some of the scenes, that are there in Annapolis. Yeah, so we were friends. We'd gotten to know each other managing bookstores at the time, and so I remember going to seeing it a second time with him. It was really cool to have him experience the film as well. But yeah, I remember seeing it in Virginia and being like, oh wow, this is interesting, because I had liked Hunt for Red October, and then they made the casting change, and I was like, all right, let's see if this works, and it seemed to work. This was more of the Jack Ryan that I remember reading in those books. And growing up in D.C., Tom Clancy was a big deal. So, like, reading his books was like mandatory reading, almost like Shakespeare.
Yeah, so you had a whole opinion. Like, Paul and I, they're finally getting rid of Alec Baldwin and putting in Harrison Ford. It's like, what even is the Hunt for Red October then? Who cares? This is the way, absolutely perfect. CG him into the other movie too while you're at it. But you were a Clancy fan first, right?
Oh yeah, I used to have it the books on tape, and so I would ride around with the cassettes. Like kids, there were things called cassettes, and I would put the cassette in and listen to. I think it was F. Murray Abraham who used to do some of these, and so his books, I mean, that is incredible to watch an actor or listen to an actor of his talent do the voices of the characters while also narrating the thing. It was incredible to listen to.
Yeah, for me, it was in the theater, summer. I was graduating college, so I think I was kicking around my college town. I think everything that came out in '92 I saw a couple of times. But I wasn't working in a movie theater. Like we talked about Last Crusade recently. I was working at a movie theater when that came out. So that movie I saw ad nauseum. This one not as much. So when I saw it recently, it was still kind of fresh. I was like, oh yeah, that this happened and that happened. I didn't quite have it poured over 100%. Could read you every line. I had never read the books. Mm-mm. I may not read books anymore because
I don't think I do.
The book's always better. And I can't have movies be bad. So enough books. Just movies, thanks. Also, if you read a book in 2 hours, it's not going to be as good. So that's just, it's never going to be the way to get everything in a movie. But I think, as far as I know, what do you think, John? Is the adaptation pretty good here? There's lots of controversy, of course, about the ending and other stuff.
Yeah, and him being a lot more right wing than Jack Ryan on screen is. So, but overall, I think it's a good adaptation, even though Clancy may have had an issue with it because it was made for what the public wanted to see, and I think the box office validates that more than anything else. But yeah, Clancy, these books are dense, man. I mean, if you're into this kind of stuff, Clancy is your language because he goes real deep. I mean, if you ever read Hunt for Red October, the way the amount of depth he talks about with each of the submarines, it's like reading the first things of the Bible. He begat, they begat, they begat, and you're like, I can't keep up anymore. So adapting these would be monumental task for sure.
Well, the other thing is you've got an auteur here in a way.
Yeah.
Philip Noyce, and by the way, every time I say that, I got to play it. Yeah, okay.
Always.
But, and what I did not catch the first time I saw this movie, just paying attention to basic action and Harrison Ford and all that sort of stuff. This time I'm like, oh, this is very handily directed. There are some really interesting choices, and he's not going to do your typical action movie to begin with,
Yeah, and I was surprised to learn in watching the DVD extras that Harrison Ford was sort of told this, we're interested in Philip Noyce directing. Have you seen Dead Calm? And he's like, no. But it was his previous movie, right? What was it called?
Newsfront?
Newsfront.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That he had seen. And I'm like, I've never even heard of that movie.
Wow.
And so
Noyce! Yeah, they I love that they told him about Dead Calm, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what that is or whatever. And then they're like, well, he also did Newsfront. He's like, what? Wait! You've got the guy who did Newsfront here? Like
it's par for the course with Ford, though. Even with Shrinking, it's like, you've seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall? No, what is that? I haven't seen it. He hasn't seen any of this stuff.
Right.
He doesn't care. It's weird. But here's the story about Clancy's thing. He didn't like the changes.
Yeah.
Didn't like Ford's portrayal of
what
Ryan.
are the changes, by the way?
Blasphemy.
It was supposed to be Prince Charles, and they couldn't use Prince Charles.
Okay.
And that he got deeper into the issues between the Irish, the Northern Ireland, the all that, and the Brits. There was much more of that in the book. But also, as I said earlier, he's more right wing, Jack Ryan is in the book than Jack Ryan is in the movies. So Clancy had issues with that as well. And he even, I think he came out and said, like, of the 200 scenes in this film, one of them is accurate to my book. But, you know, it's crotchety old man shit. You know how that is.
Oh, wow. You know, the right wing thing completely changes what became my favorite moment in this. I compared this a lot to Scott Turow because Scott Turow's book is not, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You know, like Scott Turow wrote his book to go, oh my God, courtrooms have literally never been presented correctly. You know, like you can just feel it. So it's this like really underplayed version of that where everything's a technical issue because that's what actually happens in courtrooms. What this movie did, which I now assume Tom Clancy did not do, is to say, intelligence gathering is not bang, 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 shoot 'em up, shoot 'em up, shoot 'em up. It's a lot of being in a room. It's a lot of looking at photos, and it's a lot of watching people get killed on satellites. But so watch how he takes in the authorization, because as soon as Jack says, kill those people, they're going to go kill those people. And that's even said earlier in the thing. It was like, all you got to do is say yes, that camp's gone. And so like the gravity with that, and when it finally comes down to it, this is how he authorizes it. This is not the right-wing version of it.
What I need to hear from you is your best guess, and I think I've heard it. Haven't I?
Right. I mean, that's a director. That is a choice between an actor who is not a raging conservative, I think you could say, and a director who's trying to get the most out of that moment without delivering it plain Jane like everything else, you know?
Well, you don't want him to be callous about a human life. So you make it so that he's, you know, dropping the daughter a line. I mean, what are you going to say? If I was in a room and someone said that, I'm like, are you, what? Come on, man. Like, we're trying to talk about real stuff here. Don't be playing that card.
Right.
So, but having his back turned, it's a brilliant decision. Cause I mean, they tell you all the time in movies and in theater, never turn your back to the audience, but having him just do the slight nod after the pause, it really makes you feel that. Yeah, it's just slight. Wow. Yeah, it's really cool.
This is the beginning of Harrison Ford phase 4, right? So this is a new phase in his career. Phase 3 was eliminating our memories of Indiana Jones and Han Solo by playing everything else in the universe. And I can't remember what movie about it, but it's like, I noted that he is doing more reacting in that middle phase than, you know, and so here you're getting it all. He's able to just take a moment and just silently nod and get as much gravity as when he, you know, punches a guy in the street. You know?
We mentioned this is the greatest hits of Harrison Ford, and it really is. And we needed that after Regarding Henry, right? We wanted to come back to the big time Harrison Ford summer movie. And what do we got? We got, he's working with a Fox, right? This James Fox, and this one he worked with Edward Fox. And
Edward Fox, right.
Back with James Earl Jones. We love when he works with James Earl Jones.
Reteam, fourth movie with James Earl Jones.
And first time,
people don't note that.
And first time they've been in the same room.
Yeah, true.
He's teaching, right? At the top, he's teaching the recruits, like he does in Raiders of the Lost Ark. They're zooming in on shots of the camp, and it's very enhance.
Enhance. Runner, he even says enhance.
Yeah, he's got a boat fight like he does in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He's got a wife and daughter like Regarding Henry. He's got the domestic kitchen life like in Working Girl. This is the greatest hits of Harrison Ford.
And all right, since you brought it up, Paul, greatest hits of Harrison Ford. I have said more than once on this and caught myself to say this is the greatest point with righteous anger that Harrison Ford will ever do. I must have said that 3 times if I've said it once on this show. And here comes Patriot Games. Let's go into Harrison Ford's points here. He's got 2 of the greatest points he's ever done in this movie. And just when you think he can't, his points with righteous anger and shouts can't get any better.
I don't give a shit whether you did it or not, and neither will anyone else. But I will put such a stranglehold on your gun money, you'll be out in the street throwing rocks. I will destroy you. I will make it my mission in life.
That's just the best point, and with the most righteous anger.
Yeah, I mean, if that's point meets anger, and it's at the apex of both. That's really good. Yeah, and we've been counting a lot of them here. Get Down was another good one at the top. Get Down. It's sort of a point.
Get Down. You want to see that?
It's the run one. Yeah, it's the run.
Yeah,
Get Down. Yeah. It's so good.
There's a Get Down. Yeah, this is another great point, and this is a point with action and.
Get down!
Yeah, That's an epic point.
Yeah, he points at J.E. Freeman. He points while he's teaching. Anyway, again, this is 100%. Well, we'll get to how much Harrison Ford he is in this percentage-wise, but it's leaning very, very high. So let's talk about some of the making of the film. Let's see. First of all, The Legal Quagmire. The novel came out in 1987. Viacom makes a play for the rights. It almost was an ABC TV adaptation. Oh, I don't know. It's TV adaptation.
The James Bond route, right? When James Bond's first movie was a little TV movie.
Meanwhile, Paramount was making The Hunt for Red October in 88 and claimed that the rights to Jack Ryan were part of their $455,000 deal they made for Red October. This stopped the ABC project. Clancy was fighting for the rights for his own character in the middle of all this, and eventually Paramount Pictures paid $2.5 million for the rights to Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. And they wanted Ford for both, and they ended up getting him. And I can't wait to see Clear and Present Danger again, because, man, did I love that movie. Maybe even more than this one.
How dare you? That's the point there. That's such a great line.
Well, I think what I realized rewatching this, having rewatched Clear and Present Danger more recently, but still probably maybe 9 or 10 years ago, is that I have a feeling these are two very, very different movies. Like, Patriot Games in my head was a lot closer to Clear and Present Danger, and now it's its own thing, but in a very high quality way. I mean, did Noyce direct Clear and Present Danger?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'd be interested to see.
Yeah, and the other part of this that we're going to start seeing more of is Harrison Ford protecting his family, like he will in Firewall, like he will in all these other movies. But he starts doing it right around here, and we started having a family and regarding Henry. Now, immediately one movie later, he has to protect them. But he'll continue to do that from here on out. And so, but you'll take that away for Clear and Present Danger, leaving just all espionage and political.
Right.
I think is really cool and a lot more complex.
But how cool a dodge is this movie in that you know it's this return to form. He's back in a franchise. He's back in a big summer franchise. He's you know it's got some action. You watch the trailer and stuff like that, and then you go into this movie, and after all of Harrison Ford Phase 3, this movie is all about a father and a husband with no controversy. There's no cheating, nothing like that. They're having a baby. They are a family. This is the first time and everything in this movie tries to disrupt that. Until and he's retired at the beginning of this. You know, he's out of the life until they mess with the wrong guys. My favorite type of movie. A guy who's out of the life, and then they mess with the wrong guy, and Harrison Ford gets to be that guy, and it winds him up and winds him up and winds him up until he's capable of punching a dude. But they take him to the biggest extent, and he's finally got to blow up, and we're all for it. Like, let's do it, and we know he's going to do it. Come on, blow up.
Yeah, even at the beginning, he's forced into heroics, which is my favorite kind of heroics. He's not stepping into the movie as the good guy. He's stepping up as his character.
To kind of underscore your point, Paul, real quick, before he makes the jump into fighting Sean Bean and his brother and all of that in that moment, and gets involved, as you said, didn't want to get involved, gets involved. He pauses. And that pause is exactly what you're talking about, protecting his family. In that moment when he pauses and looks at Ann Archer and looks at young Thora Birch, he hesitates because he loves his family. Should I jump in there? Should I not? And then duty overtakes him and he jumps in. And so the fact that he even takes a pause, which I think is a really smart move by Philip Noyce, that gives a subtle character or a subconscious character beat to this Jack Ryan, it makes you care about him even more because he hesitates. And if he hadn't gotten involved, all of this wouldn't have happened. Probably a man and his family would have died, but he wouldn't have gone through all the stuff he goes through. But it's that pause that lets you know that he's considered it, not getting involved, but he had to.
And much like Indiana Jones or Han Solo, can't help himself. There's a wrong being committed. I have to go into action. The only thing that allows evil to flourish is for a good man to do nothing, right?
Oh, get out! Open the fucking door!
So he surveys it, then he takes that moment, and then boom, yep.
Open it or I'll blow it up!
But much more human than some of the other characters because he gets shot again. He makes it out of that as you would expect in real life. Like, yeah, there's gonna be bullets flying. If you run into that, you are going to get shot. You're going to go to the hospital. You are not, you are not a mythic hero. Very interesting humanization of his character.
Yeah, I think bringing humanity to the role was a lot of what the positive reviews about this film said back in the day. Harrison Ford brought that element of things. So how did he get here? Okay. Producer Mace Neufeld pitched Harrison Ford because Baldwin was still young. They wanted a 50-year-old Ryan for this story, moving it forward. Baldwin was in negotiations to reprise his role, but committed to perform in A Streetcar Named Desire on Broadway. Filming for Patriot Games gets delayed by 2 months. Baldwin's out. Negotiations supposedly broke down anyway because of his insistence on script approval. In 2011, Baldwin claimed the role was recast due to being forced to choose between performing in Streetcar or agreeing to an open-ended clause relating to dates for the first sequel. Baldwin further claimed this occurred after a famous actor offered to play Ryan. So it's interesting, kind of Ford's coming in. They want Ford. Baldwin's still interested, but they kind of moving him out, and it's kind of maybe a little convenient that he gets the stage show. But here's something I never heard. Ford was favored by both the studio and director John McTiernan due to a large debt the studio owed him from Harold Becker's unproduced historical film Night Ride Down. Have you ever heard of this? I have never heard of any of this. A film about the Pullman strike, which was canceled due to the early 1990s recession.
Well, this is, as you guys said, this is a phase 3 movie if he had done this movie, right? Something so out of whatever he'd done before, trying something new, pushing himself as an actor. Remember, this is also around the time of Mattawan and these films that come out that are about supporting workers in these old times and strikes and these kinds of things. And so maybe he felt this was a great way for him to kind of spread his wings a little bit more as an actor. And of course, Witness has elements of that as well. So it would have made sense, it would have made sense for him to do it. But that, in the end, it didn't get done.
Eventually, Ford signs a $9 million 3-picture contract to play Ryan after Baldwin's departure. So where's the third film? That's what I want.
By the way, I have to say, you said Alec Baldwin demanded script approval. I have to say, after watching Harrison Ford's ability to get script approval start with Star Wars and watching all of his choices, one of those two actors is way better at script approval and director approval.
Also less mercurial, so I think that helps as well. Yeah.
So here's what could have been. An early concept was McTiernan making Clear and Present Danger with a script from John Milius.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well, there's your right wing. It felt it wasn't right wing enough. Let's get Milius.
McTiernan apparently declined to make Patriot Games due to his Irish-American background.
Wow.
Other directors considered Walter Hill. That would have been different. Kevin Reynolds. That would have been without signature. And John...
That would have been without signature. I was like, what's the perfect way to bash on him a little bit?
2.5 hours at least. Yeah.
And then John Badham was considered, but asked for too much money. I guess, he wanted stakeout money or something. I don't know. But
Badham, it's amazing. Yeah. What an auteur, but not also. Yeah, there's no signature either. There's another signatureless one.
And and almost Catherine Ryan, Mary McDonnell, which would have been fun because she was, every college has like one or two people that make it big, unless you're Yale or Harvard. From small SUNY Fredonia, south of Buffalo, New York. Mary McDonnell was our big alumni from Sneakers and Dances with Wolves, but Battlestar Galactica, and then just kept working ever since. But it would have been fun to see her in this. But it went to Ann Archer, obviously. So
I was going to bring this up because there was a whole cottage industry in the 80s of playing the wives of these leading men. And it was like Patricia Clarkson, the woman from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles who plays Steve Martin's wife. She's in The Boys. Ann Archer, Bonnie Bedelia, as you said. They're all just kind of around the leading men at this time, but showing up with different leading men in different projects. But there was a whole cottage industry of these 80s ladies who were, getting these jobs and working, and they were older, playing these roles as well, which is fun to see.
The other movies, recent movies he's done are fairly thankless. I feel like because of the emphasis on family, motherhood, his retirement is clearly because of her. I mean, they make a fine point on it eventually, but you start to get the hint of like, oh, he's retired because she doesn't want him doing this anymore. And then she watches as here comes all the stuff again. Here's the CIA guys on my front doorstep. Think about it, Jack. And he does. He's like, no. This is a refusal of the Call to Adventure, the movie. He does it the entire time, and it's all for her and the family. And then to raise the stakes, she gets pregnant again. There is literally no way he can go on a one-on-one battle against the IRA with the CIA because now he's got another kid on the way. And that's when they tighten the noose again and try and kill her and his daughter. Oh my God, you want to piss off, you want to wind up Harrison Ford until he's pissed off enough to just go after these guys. They do it, man.
So here's where they filmed. The U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, which you've been there. It sounds like Rocha.
Yes, yeah, a couple of times.
What branch did you serve in? I don't even know.
I was in the Army for 8 years, but my brother got a recommendation from our senator at the time to get into the Naval Academy. Quick story. My father was a banquet waiter for many years in hotels. That's how he paid his bills. Immigrant to this country. Dad put roofs over our heads, clothes on our back, doing that job. I think it was Senator Mark Warner, I think it was, or John Warner at the time. I think it was John Warner, the older Warner. And my dad served him a number of times in functions. My dad pitched him my brother to get him into the academy because he had served in the Naval Academy, and you needed a recommendation from a senator or a representative to get into the academy, and he did it for him. Now, my brother ended up not going because he just wasn't into the military at the same level, but my dad had gotten this for him. So we went to go visit the academy to see what it was all about. So it was an intense visit for sure.
Yeah. I think also you have to have not even gotten a B- to get into the Naval Academy.
Yeah.
From a friend of mine who got in.
Yeah. My brother's like a genius. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But what a beautifully shot coming off the ocean over the Naval Academy, all this stuff. Great. And you're like, there's so many things in this where you're like, I've seen that shot, or maybe not exactly the Naval Academy, but that idea of that shot done so much plainly. And I don't hold it against any movie until you see this movie do it and you see Philip Noyce do it. And you're like, oh, that's really cool. It's, yeah.
Do you watch military movies, John, with a little, that's not how that would happen?
Oh yeah, sometimes sure. Like what was the most recent one? The Jake Gyllenhaal one. Yeah, the The Covenant. Yeah, I always go in going, man, this better not be one of these rah Lifetime military movies. I'm going to be so mad. I like military movies that are honest, and I'd like to think most of us who've served like these more honest military movies because they were authentic. Not everything's no one's walking around kissing flags in the military. Okay, we have a job to do.
That is for a different demographic than people who have served, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's more on CMT, but like more of the movies we do, like that I like are the ones that are honest about serving, and I appreciate that truth because of course we love our country, we defend our country. That's part of it. But also you deal with the FUBARB and the red tape and the bullshit and the bureaucracy like you would any place else. So I like that they show elements of that. And that happened in The Covenant as well, which I thought was a really good way to balance things out. There's certainly a lot of people with good hearts in the military, but then there's sometimes you have to deal with the nonsense of it all. So yeah, I was going with like a little bit like, are you going to be honest or are you going to be like, flag humping? I don't want flag humping.
No flag humping.
Yeah.
So something like Hurt Locker wins Best Picture. Do you think they take into account the realism, or they just say this was entertaining and had all the drama and performances we need?
Yeah, I think it doesn't hold up when you look at it now. But at the time, I think because we were, still kind of fresh from 9/11, still the wars. So it kind of passed muster for that time. But I don't think now when you look back on it, it's as timeless as some of the other military movies. But, but it was a good one for that time for sure. Yeah.
I haven't seen it since then. To give it another look.
Yeah.
So Patriot Games also ends up being the first film allowed to shoot at the George Bush Center for Intelligence, CIA headquarters.
Yeah. Right.
Now this was interesting. From what is this? 31 years ago now. Whew. Hang on a second. Let's just take a moment. My God. That's right. I mean, my math is right? It's 31 years ago this movie came out. So, like, when I saw this movie, like, Lawrence of Arabia would have been the equivalent
in distance in the past.
Yeah. That would have been 30 years, but still.
Good God.
All right. So, but even that doesn't seem that long ago, but, God, maybe my whole question's moot because now it feels like a long time ago.
Paul, do you want to clear the palate by watching him kill Sean Bean?
Yes, please.
add that to the list of things that Harrison Ford has done in his career. He's also killed Sean Bean. Not a lot of people can say they. Well, actually, a lot of people can say they've killed Sean Bean. But he's
Sean Bean loves to die in movies, man.
So this technology from 30 years ago, where we wanted to show the attack on the desert camp for the terrorists, or for the soldiers, for whatever they were, they actually filmed it from above wearing black bodysuits, and the images were reversed in post-production. So they weren't even doing like a heat-seeking thing back then. Right. Could they not do it? Were they just... I'm curious to know why they chose the method. I mean, it looked great. It looked like the kind of thing in a movie. I buy that. You see the white things in a night vision thing. You're like, well, this is a sort of heat-seeking type camera.
I know it's commonplace now to see drone footage and things like that, but this has to be very radical in 92. We have to have never seen anything like this in a movie,
especially for mainstream audiences. Like that wasn't something you saw on the news every night.
No
drone footage, for God's sakes, no, or satellite footage, which is what they're using the imagery.
Or satellite footage, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you wouldn't have seen that.
I think the reason they have to do the special effect, Paul, and flip it is you're just not going to get a film quality image using actual night imaging type stuff. So it has to be some sort of trick, to get that look. I think, at a high quality, for the cinema,
And one thing they shot that they didn't like was an underwater fight between Ryan and Miller at the end of the film.
Oh, wow.
That I remember the producer saying in the DVD extra, he's like, it's real slow. And so it wasn't that exciting.
Always the problem with underwater.
I can't imagine what that would have looked like, but they bagged all that and reshot everything to end on the boat. There was even a fight where they end up on the rocks, then go in the water and then fight underwater. They cut all that, but then the reshoots were part of fixing that ending. Test audiences were somebody somewhere saw the underwater fight. That's got to be like right out of time, right?
Remember at the time, Paul, by the way, and John, that like Fatal Attraction and then this, like the idea of a test audience convincing the studio to change the ending, getting reported, was like highly controversial. Like, wait a second, the ending I saw wasn't genuine from the artist? Like, that was like new news at the time. So you would always hear like, I heard they changed the ending because of what the audience thought. But meanwhile, that happened all the time, but it's just in a few big cases it made news,
So then the aftermath, the film's portrayal of Northern Ireland and the conflict there was controversial. Joseph McBride of Variety called the film fascistic, blatantly anti-Irish, a right-wing cartoon. Peter Bart got in the middle of all that between Variety and it didn't go well. So it was a big, ugly scene. Nevertheless, as I said, 178 million worldwide, 74% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences giving it an A- on Cinema Score for what those are worth. But still, pretty good response from audiences despite whatever controversy decided to show itself.
Yeah, it's ironic that McBride. Well, I mean, is McBride, is there a connection there maybe? But like apparently his reviews were so bad that Paramount did not take out ads in Variety or Hollywood Reporter later, but it was initially Variety because they didn't appreciate McBride's review. They said he went too far, and the producers felt like he was attacking them personally by saying that they kind of shit on the Troubles and didn't spend more time explaining the Northern Ireland cause. It just made it seem as if these people were just overall, just all these Northern Irish people are terrible. All these people in the IRA, they have no cause for what they're doing. They didn't really show the balance. I mean, Richard Harris, I don't think was enough to balance all the actions that were going on. So you can see why he felt that way. But it's odd that even back in 92, the studio's getting mad at a reviewer and limiting ads or whatever. And another controversy, which is really, I didn't know about till I was doing just some random research for the show today. Apparently, the poster was an issue in areas in LA, in gang areas in LA, because of, and I hope I'm saying that right, gang areas, but whatever you want to say, it says 6/5/92 on the poster itself for when it was coming out.
Oh, right.
And 65 is when they had the riots there because of what happened in, I think, Watts and whatever. And then 92 was when they had the riots after the Rodney King. So they were saying, with Harrison Ford pointing a gun at pedestrians, they were kind of, in a way, some people took it. And this was written up in Entertainment Weekly. This isn't just some Reddit blog. There was Entertainment Weekly wrote this up and talked about the controversy. So yeah, it's weird how So we think things happened just recently, and it's like it's been going on for decades, man.
I know.
I'm going to go on the record and say it's a bit of a reach, but
well, sure.
But the reporting's solid, I'm sure. So as I mentioned, 83 million puts it as the 14th highest grosser domestically of 1992. Can anyone name one of the movies higher than that?
Did you say 14th?
Yes, in 1992
of the entire year.
Actually, I didn't write them all down. I just wrote down the ones I thought were interesting.
No, that's okay.
But so let me reverse that. I'll share them with you. Just more people saw Under Siege. That would never happen again.
Oh, wow.
Or people would see Seagal more than Ford.
Wow.
The Hand That Rocks the Cradle was higher up on the. That had a huge.
But those are two big trend movies, also, which is the Blank from Hell and the. What was the other one you just mentioned?
Under Siege,
like,
right?
Under Siege, which is like that's what it was. Die Hard Inna. Yeah.
Interesting. And then Lethal Weapon 3, I guess, was one of the top 2 or 3 movies of the year. And I swear, I love Lethal Weapon. I love Lethal Weapon 2.
But I hate that 3.
I remember Lethal Weapon 4. I can't hate it. I don't remember any of it.
Don't
remember any of that movie.
Isn't Lethal Weapon 3 Chris Rock? Yeah.
No.
It's when he's dating.
4 is Chris Rock.
4 is Chris Rock? Oh, okay.
4 is Chris Rock, Jet Li. That movie is awesome.
Oh, right.
From the director of Superman, the movie.
Lethal Weapon 3 was the introduction of Rene Russo.
Right.
Oh,
but I just don't remember anything else that happened.
And it is about gang violence in LA. It's a smart idea. It's basically the Rocky V of Lethal Weapon movies, because I'm like, on paper, that is a great idea. That is the perfect direction to take it. And none of it works. It's just like, what's going on? It's strange.
Wow.
So
I totally forgot that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you watch it, nostalgia won't help it. I've tried.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, because if you want to get a box set of Lethal Weapon movies on Blu-ray, they're going to give you 3. So I have it. It's like the Hunt for Red October that came in the Sum of All Fears that came in this set with these movies. I don't need them, but I got them. I wouldn't go in for those 2, but.
So the Harrison Ford list of essentials: Righteous Anger, yes, to Richard Harris for sure. He shows that. The points.
Wait, hold on. I think I need to examine this clip again just to see if there's any. Let's just examine this, guys. Let's get the telestrator up.
I don't give a shit whether you did it or not, and neither will anyone else. But I will put such a stranglehold on your gun money, you'll be out in the street throwing rocks. I will destroy you.
When Han Solo dressing down Dumbledore in a crowded bar as Mace Windu or Nick Fury gives him the shoulder shove as he walks by.
I mean, I think you just defined how great this movie is in some ways, because we talk about this and that and all this sort of stuff, but like, that's the juice right there, what you just said.
Yeah, and I think Samuel L. Jackson, remember, he's a new character. We had not seen him in Hunt for Red October, so him coming in, he is seamless in the movie, man. And this is early in Samuel Jackson's career. Let's not forget, 89 is when he's first seen in as a small part in Coming to America. And then step by step, through Spike Lee and others, he establishes himself. And then he is so seamless here, so professional, so calm in the interactions with Harrison, and equal in screen presence.
Oh, it's great.
Right? It's so great to see.
I have a feeling to watch.
Yeah, and I have a feeling if James Earl Jones was younger, he would have done all the stuff that Sam Jackson did. But because he wasn't, they used Sam, and Sam did a great job playing this role all the way to the end.
Oh, and let's not skip over James Earl Jones either, because I love how they use him in this. Much like that clip I played earlier of the way he and Jack talk. And when Jack comes back to CIA, because he's had it now, they tried to kill, his daughter and wife are tried to be Uzi'd on the freeway, and he's comes back and he's like, I'm back in, or whatever. That conversation he has and how James Earl Jones defines that for the dickhead. He's got a dickhead captain in this too, right? Yeah. What's up with that guy's ass, by the way? I've been wondering he's just, he really is doing the Foley. Enough with you, Foley. He's not any different to me than that.
J.E. Freeman is so good in Miller's Crossing that when I see him in anything else, I just can't. I don't see the The Dane. I love the Dane so much in Miller's Crossing. It's tough to see him in anything else not playing the Dane, you know?
Well, he's really good in this. I mean, he might be one of the best performances as the dickhead captain who's had enough of your nonsense, you radical, Dirty Harry, how dare you? He's getting that treatment, even though it's not that scenario.
He was the target of one of Harrison Ford's points, so that'll learn you.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take your job, Marty.
J.E. Freeman, let's not forget, also was the killer in Ruthless People, I believe. Right?
What? That's good trivia.
I can't remember what his character had a name.
That's a 5-pointer.
Bedroom killer. But yeah, you look like my mother. I hated my mother. Right, that whole bit. So then does he get hit? Yes, he gets hit. I appreciate it in the DVD extras again when they talked about how they wanted these fight scenes to be by a guy who doesn't have the skills to fight well, and he nearly loses the fight with the guy who attacks him, who's like just walking on the street like a jogger.
Yeah.
Eventually that guy gets shot by nearby guards, but yeah. He swings and misses even once, which is
well. That's what I like about it. You never see him land a punch, even at that point, until later in the movie. So when he tries to punch that kid, and I believe it was said in a commentary or the behind-the-scenes feature that we watched, Paul, which is that they kind of didn't want him to get even a punch off there. So and they said it was because of the reticence of Jack Ryan would have about beating up this kid who's clearly a part of it's not, this kid's so nervous, and he saw early on in that moment with the assassination, he's like, why is this kid so nervous and fidgety? And then he keeps watching him. So when it comes time to punch the kid, even though he's got a gun, he's like, I can't, this kid,
Well, I would imagine it's also because he just shot and killed a 17-year-old kid himself. And so he might have a hesitancy, and we see later the PTSD when he's in the woman's bathroom on accident, whatever. Like, he is like in a PTSD thing. That's their way of alluding to it without spotlighting it. So I imagine with the young kid there, he has shades of what happened and doesn't want to necessarily, is hesitant at least to go at it with this young kid.
That's true. Really, Jack Ryan really is haunted by having killed a kid at the beginning of this movie, trying to protect his family, but that didn't make it any better. He's not a guy that's like, haha, that's what you get. He's just like, holy crap, and watches Sean Bean watch his brother die, and he's seeing all this happen as he's fading away. It's like, wow, you're right. The PTSD for that. I never even thought of that.
Yeah, and then Sean confronts him in the court as he's walking out. Remember, he says, I hope you're happy what you did. You killed my brother, blah, blah, blah. So it's like he's carrying all that guilt with him in that moment, too.
Yeah, and Ryan is guilty in that moment, too. I mean, he's got the Harrison Ford glare is back, by the way. We said the Harrison Ford glare is back, the Harrison Ford hair is back, and the Harrison Ford finally has a cool name again after a couple movies off,
After a Rusty and a Hank, he's a Jack again. So yeah,
finally he's a Jack again. But that glare. Oh.
So how Harrison Ford is he in this? In a percentage, 1 to 100. If you tuned in to watch Harrison Ford in Patriot Games, you'd say, "Wow, that was what."
What's your? I would have to participate in this. I'd have to know what your scale is. What's your lowest Harrison Ford and what's your highest Harrison Ford?
The least Harrison Ford he's been? Paul, Ford. What did we give that to?
Apocalypse Now, maybe? I don't know. He doesn't get to do a lot of Harrison Ford stuff.
He's not very Harrison Ford in the conversation. I don't think we rated that high.
Right. I forgot.
The least he's ever been Harrison Ford. The least Harrison Ford he's ever been has got to be Journey to Shiloh, right? He's just like,
see, John, there are like 7 movies before American Graffiti, which nobody knows about, but we saw them.
Sorry, let's talk about one that maybe John's seen.
What's the one where he's the flyer? World War One? What's the one? I forget what that one was.
Right,
Hanover Street.
Yeah.
Hanover Street, but he's here. He's heroic in that. He kisses a girl. It's his first shirt scene.
I'd say Hanover Street, he's probably a 4, right?
Is Empire Strikes Back like the top, or
that Raiders are like 100?
Yeah, that's 10s.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, 100. Do we go to 100? What do we do?
We go to 100. It's a percentage.
100. Sorry.
He's about 85 to 90% Harrison Ford in this movie, and I say this because you have to factor in Harrison Ford at this time, right? And
that's exactly it,
right? No one gets his ass kicked better than Harrison. No one. I mean, no one. Through all the movies, he is always either a step behind or gets his ass kicked, and it's incredible, but he always finds his way out. Same thing in this movie. He's heroic where he needs to be. He's a step behind at times, but he uses his intelligence. Just like when he gets out of these situations, he uses his mind. The big dude and Raiders of the Lost Ark, he figured out, hey, the propeller's coming. I'm just going to lie here. I'm going to let him die.
Before that, kick him in the balls, throw dirt in his face.
Exactly, right, exactly. He figures it out. And so in that moment, when he puts it all together after the situation in the woman's bathroom, and he comes back and he's got everything, he collates that. That's as Harrison Ford as you get. Then he has the action sequences. Also, Harrison Ford would absolutely be smart enough to leave the British guy behind, the government politician there, and his wife and kid, to trick the aggressive, emotional IRA guys to come after him, or IRA sect guys, splinter cell guys, to come after him. So a lot of those things are Harrison Ford. And at the end, they have the sweet moment with finding out that his wife's okay. And of course, his reaction to finding out about his daughter's spleen is pure emotion of a father crying, you know. And so when he confronts Richard Harris, he's almost half crying as he's talking to Richard Harris, controlling all the emotions that are involved here. And then, of course, delivers what he needs to deliver there. So I'd say it's pretty high up Harrison Ford here for this section of his career.
John Rocha, that is a hell of an analysis. You are filling in like thoughts as I'm having them. You're saying them. I'm like, you are so right. For Phase 4 Harrison Ford, how Harrison Ford is he? That scale has changed. He is very Harrison Ford in this, but if I had seen this movie as his 10th movie, I'd be like, he doesn't really do a whole lot of Harrison Ford stuff in it. But now, those emotional moments, being a family man. So,
well, I've always mentioned his underplaying as one of his strong cards that he pulls out for
very much
movie
so.
Where he does, and he's about to go into The Fugitive and probably do his most underplaying yet, where he's puts in a fantastic performance with hardly any dialogue, really, in the end.
He uses silence so well.
Yeah.
But the satellite mission kill, just the moment where one of the dude bros in the room's like, that's a kill, you know. But Harrison Ford plays that entire scene silent. In fact, Harrison Ford doesn't speak after he gives his assessment, you know, because he silently nods to James Earl Jones. And then he doesn't speak again for 10 minutes as this entire thing happens. Great silent acting. He's totally coming to his own on silent acting as well.
Yeah, it's such a great moment because you're right. Why would Noyce include that if he's not making a commentary about the callousness that some people in government have in killing people? Exactly. Because they have the power to do it, whereas Jack doesn't. Jack's not callous about the deaths. His reaction to that guy, he stares at him. He doesn't just kind of give him and smirk or toss it off. He stares at him for a while because he's probably questioning, is this the right thing? Have I done the right thing? Are these the right people? Can I carry this guilt with me of more deaths at my hand, like the beginning of the movie? So there's all of that. And also I'll throw one more thing in. The great gifts of our favorite everyman actors, and I mean Tom Hanks and Harrison Ford, Jimmy Stewart, the great everyman actors, as you pointed out, Paul, the underplaying and the silence, as you said, Adam, that's their gifts because we connect to that. That's where we find their humanity. And we know because we ourselves have been silent in certain moments, have been quiet, even me, have been quiet in certain moments.
Even I shut up sometimes.
Yeah, in certain emotional moments. And so we connect to that because we know that we've been there. And so I think those are the gifts of everyman actors.
And the power... Well, and he's an everyman actor who is different from others because he is so known for raucousness, bombastic movies, right? So every silence with him speaks like an explosion, I think, so much more than other actors because he's winding up. They're going to get to him to the point where he's just like, you don't make me take action, man. Don't piss me off. He says in that scene with Sam Jackson earlier, he's like, what made you go after the bombers? And he's like, they pissed me off. Really, it's like I couldn't help it. And when we just watched that scene, I saw that moment where he looks down at his daughter and he just like looks up at him and he's like, no, I'm going to get these sons of bitches, And
that scene is also credit the scene before that where they're watching the bombings at the base. That also is credit to the director because I love physical media because we were watching all the DVD extras and you don't see those as much as you anymore, but it was good to watch that one. They were talking about how there's a whole scene where James Earl Jones explains how it all works and how what it all means, and they just said no, Ford's reactions said it all. Between Noyce and
right.
Ford, they kind of worked together to like trim that down to just it's over, and then we go.
We've heard him doing that a lot in things. Even recently in Dial of Destiny, he's like, there was a bunch of jokes about me being an old man, and he's like, I made him cut it out. I'm like, more silence. He's always advocating for that.
Yeah. Apparently the jokes will be he'll either act like an old man or there won't be the joke. I think that's everything. Oh, the punch count. He does end up throwing 3 punches and landing 3 punches. He misses a couple times.
Yeah.
In this, so that makes the total count for
grand total.
How about this? This is his 27th movie of Harrison Ford's career, John. How many times do you think he's thrown and landed a punch in those 27 movies?
21.
90. There's 39 alone in Temple of Doom.
Yeah, 39 in Temple of Doom.
I thought you meant how many movies did he land a punch in?
Well,
not how many punches had he thrown. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I would have gone closer to 50 for sure, but all right, fair enough.
Yeah. No, 11 movies he punched a guy. And Adam always likes to point out, do you know the first person he punched in a movie?
Very first person he ever punched on screen. This was one of the best first things we ever learned after watching. It was the third movie.
I don't know. Who was the first person?
Second movie.
It was his second movie, second appearance.
Was it a Nazi?
He got backed into in his car driven by Elaine May. And so he gets out of the car, goes up, reaches past Elaine May and punches the guy in the passenger seat, who is Jack Lemmon. Hits him right.
The very first person he punches is Jack Lemmon.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm pulling up that clip. We got to show him that clip. Hold on, I've got my library started getting down, or I can pull these things up pretty quickly.
What film is that?
Gary 12 and Green,
called Love. It's based on a play I actually did for a theater company in Rhode Island many years ago. It's a very, very funny play by Murray Shiskel. The movie was meh, but it's about a guy who's going to kill himself, and he runs into an old friend, and the old friend keeps him from killing himself, and then they get involved in it, like
very wacky.
Yeah, like a love triangle, and it's very wacky. It's super farce.
I mean, to its credit, it's got Jack Lemmon, Elaine May, and
Peter Falk.
Peter Falk
should have been better.
So it's at least watchable because you got those 3 people to look at.
But I think there's a lot of stuff that worked better on stage text.
I bet. And you could tell when a play has been adapted to a movie. You're like, am I watching a play while you're watching the movie? But
while Adam's bring up that clip, John, tell us where people can find the Outlaw Nation.
Oh yeah, please head on over to youtube.com/John Rocha Says. That's where you'll see all the Outlaw Nation content that we do there. Geek Buddies, the hot mic that is becoming a big hit for us.
Now, what are the concepts of each of these shows? Geek Buddies is
it's just that we're talking the big geek news of the week. We do 3 news items and then 1 big main topic. That's basically that show. And then the hot mic is just Jeff and I with the filters off, because we are both very opinionated guys and we have suspicious points of views about people in Hollywood. So we give our truths, but Jeff always brings scoops and rumors through his sources and his contacts. And we've broken some stuff over the last few months that ahead of other people. And so it's little things like that. So noise, exactly. And then of course the Jedi Way, which I do with Laura Kelly, and very soon. And we've been having Kevin Smets on recently as a great guest. So it's been fun to have that.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And then my solo stuff on there as well. But that's where I do. And then my podcast, the Cinephiles, and the Geek Buddies and Hot Mic, which are separate podcasts as well.
So how many total shows do you put out a week?
Well, I try to put 2 videos out a day, but on the channel. But the podcasts, at least 3 or 4 episodes a week of the different podcasts. So amazing. 1 episode each. 1 episode each. So
it's great.
Got to work, man. I like to work.
Yeah. So everybody hit the alarm bell on that too, because I realized I don't know if I'm getting as many updates about your shows.
Oh, okay.
So I always, my alarm bell somehow goes off on certain people, and I check, and I'm like, what?
What is this?
Do you have a show where you fawn over an actor like we do? I mean,
no, that's why I love
single actor.
We might be rare. Yeah.
No, I like it. Please, if I did it, it would be Cruise. And I don't know if I can,
the cruise convention.
It would be
the
something
cruise
like
convention.
That. Yeah, the cruise. I have to do imitations of him all the time. But no, I love that you guys did it, because Ford is such a great actor. He's such a complex, interesting actor, and still somewhat strangely undervalued. So I love that you guys are doing that.
Right.
I love that he's made this turn into TV and streaming stuff. I love it.
Right.
All right, John, thank you so much. And we're, of course, at the Movie Guys everywhere at social, and themovieguys.net, where you can find all of our stuff. We'll be back next week whenever we get it edited, with The Fugitive.
Thank you for couching that.
So, you just waded on in like John Wayne. Why'd you do it? What were you thinking, man?
Just pissed me off. I couldn't just stand there and watch him shoot those people right in front of me. It was rage. Pure rage.